Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, life keeps turning off your light? That no matter how much hope you hold, the world around you only gets darker? If you've ever felt that way, stay with me until the end, because this story might just help you find the light that has been waiting inside you all along. Take a deep breath, silence the noise for a moment, and let your heart listen. Hunters, in a quiet mountain village where nights were longer than days, there lived a young woman named Mira. She worked as a lantern maker, her hands skillfully crafting delicate lamps that glowed beautifully through the streets every evening. People admired her work and often said her lanterns brought warmth to their cold nights. But what no one knew was that inside Mira's heart, her own light had begun to fade. For months she had been searching for meaning. Her father had passed away, her dreams felt distant, and every night when the village lights turned on, she would stare at her own lantern, one that refused to glow. No matter how many times she tried to light it, the flame would die. "Maybe I'm not meant to shine," she whispered to herself one night, tears reflecting the faint light of others' lanterns in the distance. One evening, a traveller passed through the village. He noticed Mira sitting alone near the old bridge, holding her unlit lantern. "Why isn't your light on?" he asked gently. Mira sighed. "It's empty. No matter what I do, the fire never stays." The traveller looked at her with calm eyes and said, "Maybe it's not the fire that's missing. Maybe it's the reason you're trying to light it." His words confused her, but before she could respond, he handed her a small note and walked away into the night. On the note, there were only 5 words: "Go where the darkness lives." Mira stared at the message for a long time. It made no sense. Why would anyone seek darkness to find light? But something inside her whispered that she had to try. So, the next morning, she took her empty lantern and began walking toward the old forest, a place the villagers feared because no light could survive there. As she entered the forest, the sunlight disappeared behind thick branches. The air turned cold, the ground damp. Every step she took echoed in silence. For the first time in years, Mira felt small, but strangely alive. Hours passed, and the deeper she went, the darker it became. Soon she couldn't see the path beneath her feet. Her hands trembled as she held the lantern close to her chest. "Why am I here?" she whispered. "There's nothing in this darkness." Just as she was about to turn back, she tripped and fell beside a fallen tree. Her lantern cracked, and from that crack, a faint spark of light flickered inside. She gasped. What was that? Carefully, she lifted it and saw that the spark had appeared not because she lit it, but because the lantern had broken. The opening allowed air to reach the wick, and that breath of life gave it light again. At that moment, Mira understood. The lantern wasn't empty. It was sealed too tightly to breathe. And maybe so was she. Tears ran down her face as the little flame grew brighter. She realized how often she'd tried to protect herself from pain, disappointment, and loss, closing her heart so tightly that no light could enter. But just like the lantern, the cracks were not her weakness. They were her way to shine. Mira stayed in the forest that night, watching her lantern glow softly through the darkness. The trees no longer looked frightening. The silence no longer felt empty. Instead, it felt sacred, like the world itself was whispering, "You were never broken, you were just closed." She smiled through her tears, finally understanding that light doesn't come from having everything perfect. It comes from allowing life, even its pain, to flow through you. The next morning, she returned to the village. People gathered around, astonished to see her lantern shining brighter than ever before. "How did you fix it?" they asked. Mira looked at them and said, "I didn't fix it. I let it breathe. I let it." And from that day on, every lantern she made had tiny cracks carved into its frame, a reminder that light shines best through broken places. So, if you're going through darkness right now, don't hide from it. Don't curse it. Sometimes the only way to find your light is to walk through the shadows. Let life crack you open, because through those cracks, your true glow will finally escape. If this story touched your heart, let it be your reminder. Your light has never left you. It's just waiting for you to stop fearing the dark. When everything feels lost, remember, the flame that survives the night burns brightest in the morning. Keep your heart open, keep listening, and never stop believing. Your light still lives inside you. Subscribe for more stories that awaken your soul, inspire your faith, and remind you that even in darkness, you were always meant to shine.